Welcome back to Warriors Pregame here on the Westmoreland Sports Network as we get you ready and count you down to kickoff between Penn-Trafford and Pine Richland in the WPIAL 5A semifinals. And we're being joined on video this week by the head coach of the Penn-Trafford Warriors, Ruane. And Coach, congratulations for getting here. It is your third straight semifinal, sixth in the last 8 years. Remarkable accomplishment. I know you guys are looking for bigger and better things, but congratulations on getting here, first of all.
Thank you. I appreciate it. We're actually just happy to still be playing football in the midst of the 2020 craziness, and didn't know if we were going to get a season in the first place, but to just be able to last another week has been a really big deal for the team and the program, so we're happy to be playing.
Well, let's talk about last week's win, the quarterfinal victory over Upper St. Clair, 35-7 at Warrior Stadium. You guys really seemed to set the tone early in that game with a 13-play drive on your first possession. How big was that for the rest of the game then?
I thought it was important. One thing we wanted to do was establish the line of scrimmage and try to keep Upper St. Clair's high-powered offense off the field. We didn't think we'd run it that many times, but that's what they were giving us, and we thought we could take advantage. But credit our kids and our offensive line, especially in that first drive. We had an injury halfway through the drive, and Tanner Hetherington hopped in, and we didn't skip a beat. But, Ethan Carr and Cade Yacamelli ran the ball hard and got some tough yards and ended up scoring.
Defensively, you didn't allow one completion in the first half to a pretty darn good Upper St. Clair passing attack. What was the key to your passing defense, not only last week, Coach, but, you shut down Woodland Hills earlier this year. You faced some good passing attacks, and you've played well against it.
Good players. We have talented kids in the secondary. We have talented kids in linebacker, and we have a good pass rush. That defensive line's gotten a lot better. Those kids have played awesome all year long. They're very competitive. And I think our defensive staff does an awesome job. Coach Westerland, our D coordinator, and our staff really package things well and try to take away the other team's best stuff.
Now, you ate up a lot of clock, certainly, on that first drive. What did you do, though, in the second half to really pull away from Upper St. Clair, do you think?
Well, it was more so the mid-second quarter on we started to reestablish ourselves. We had a couple of stupid penalties and a bad snap that kind of killed some drives in the first half, and then we hit a couple big ones. Second half, we didn't start out really strong, actually, at all on offense, but we got our act together and started to move the football later in the game and just pulled away. I think we, just kind of warmed down a little bit and ended up running the ball for pretty good yards.
You mentioned the penalties. Is that something that you're able to clean up in practice this week?
Yeah, it is, but that's something you can't keep surviving with. If you are 1st and 15, you're behind the sticks all the time, it's going to cost you dearly at some point. So that's something that we've tried to stress to our guys, that you just can't be in first and longer than the sticks.
You had mentioned that injury that you guys suffered in the first quarter to your right guard. Garrett Moorhead went down with that injury. How did Tanner Hetherington do coming in for him? I know he has some experience starting.
Yeah, Tanner started the first couple games this season, so it's not like he was a raw guy coming in. He's a senior with a lot of pride. He came in. He's practiced great every week. He's had himself mentally prepared, so he did a fantastic job. Like I said, we didn't really skip a beat. Kid came in and came off the ball hard and pass protected well, so we were very happy with his effort.
And how's Garrett feeling? What's his status for tonight?
He's day-to-day, but he's back in action, so we'll see we'll test it out before the game and see how he feels.
Coach, we talk a lot about Ethan Carr, certainly. The one thing that maybe we haven't talked about is his physicality on both sides of the ball and the way that he can play on both sides of the ball and go both ways in Class 5A, and he seems like his motor never runs out. What is so special about that aspect of his game?
Well, he's just a competitor. It is rare for a quarterback to play both ways full-time, but he's that caliber kid that can do it. Just a real competitive dude that likes to get after it. He runs the ball hard. He can throw it a mile. But he really just has a desire to win, and we often put our team on his back and run with him, and then he flips it over and plays really hard on defense and plays inspirational.
And Hannah's going to talk to him in just a few minutes, but I know one of the things that we talked about in terms of his preparation for this year, he didn't have much because there were no 7-on-7s. Training camp was very limited, if you even called it training camp this year, and he was moving into a familiar position, but a new position again, I guess, for him after he played a little bit of quarterback when he was younger here at Penn-Trafford. How has he really matured now and looking at the semifinals now against Pine Richland?
Tremendous. He came to us as a quarterback. He repped quarterback for the last 2 years. It's not like he didn't get reps in practice. He did it every day. He played quite a bit of quarterback last year as well, whether it be like Wildcat-type plays or just go in the game and play quarterback. So it's not like he was new to it. But credit him for the offseason. He put in a lot of time on his own and with guys on the side where we couldn't get together. And just playing receiver, I think, helped as well. I think he understands the knack of receivers, what they got to do to find holes, and he knew where to put the football quite a bit. So it's been a tremendous growth year for him.
Turning to our attention to Pine Richland, I have to ask you about this first, Coach. I know it's completely different teams, but you guys played them in a pretty epic game in 2015 in which you beat them in the Whippeal semifinals. You had guys on your side like Brett LaFoon and Timmy Vecchio and Phil Yurkovich on their side. What an epic game that was. What do you remember from that game, and was that one of your favorites in your career?
Yeah, it was a great game both ways. It was really competitive. Both teams played hard to literally the last second of that game, and we were fortunate to get one more possession than them at the end. But yeah, those names you said, those guys are long gone. They're on TVs on Saturdays, and and now working real careers, and that was a long time ago. So whatever happened that night's probably not going to help us tonight. But it was a great game.
Well, what stands out to you about the 2020 Rams?
I mean, just a relentless team, fast and furious on offense. It's a ball gets snapped every 10 to 15 seconds. They want to wear you down, but they make you defend the whole field. Great with the screen game, great with the long game, and then they can pound up the middle as well with the run game. And the quarterback Spencer is accurate as I've ever seen a kid throw in high school football. I mean, he just seems to hit the guy at the right time. Great reads. So they're a dynamic offense, and they've been successful for a long time. But, these guys look like they want to win. And then you flip it over on defense, and they're one of the best teams we've seen get off of blocks and get to the ball carrier and quickly. They have great closing speed. They're really good tacklers in space. And then on top of it all those dudes are athletes in the secondary and linebacker, but they have a terrific D-line that gets a lot of pressure and changes the line of scrimmage. So it's a really, really big challenge. They're ranked number 1 in the state for a reason. Well, and you mentioned Cole Spencer, of course, Eli Yoakum. There's other guys that we could certainly talk about too. But what do you have to do defensively, Coach, to help contain them? I mean, we have to, first of all, tackle. I mean, you cannot give them more yards than they catch the ball for, and we have to be sure tacklers. We have to make sure we get guys down in space and make them run extra snaps. Don't give them, we watch the film and they're just breaking, short gains for huge yards, and they block well downfield. So we have to get off blocks. I don't think anyone stops them. You just have to slow them down and be opportunistic if a turnover presents itself. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be tackling. That's what it's going to come down to. I know you mentioned their defense already, but anything else specifically you can kind of tell us about what they do well on defense? Well, they don't have many tendencies. They like to disguise things and change things up and make it confusing for your coaching staff and your quarterback. So they just do a lot well, and they seem to have teams in 3rd and long quite a bit more than we've seen anybody really, and they bring pressure. So it's going to be imperative not to be in 3rd and long. It's easier said than done, but it's going to be really difficult if we can't play in front of the sticks, like I said, with the penalties. And finally, Coach, I know you've kind of already touched on it already, but your keys to victory here tonight. Possess the football and make the possessions count. We can't turn it over. We certainly can't go 3 and outs and keep giving them the football back. We've got to take the pressure off our defense a little bit. Like I said, defense has to tackle outstanding and somehow create some opportunities on turnovers. And then, as well coached as this football team is, you better believe they're really good at special teams. So we're going to have to cover well. We're going to have good returns. And we can't, slack in the kicking game because it's a playoff game. And, we've seen teams win and lose in the playoffs on the kicking game. So it's going to take a great effort in all 3 phases. Well, the Penn-Trafford community, I know, would be showing up in droves if there were tickets available. Unfortunately, with COVID, we all know the attendance limitations. However, the marching band and the cheerleaders will be accompanying you guys to Pine Richland. So I guess it'll feel a little bit like Warrior Stadium with those groups there. Yeah, it'll feel like a Friday night, if nothing else. That was one thing missing earlier in the year was the band, and you just don't realize it until you play a game without all that. I get good noise and the cheerleaders behind you, and the whole Friday night experience is what high school football is all about. So it's great to have them back, and Pines people will be there as well. It'll be be a good atmosphere. Yeah, it'll be a lot of fun. Coach, thank you so much. Good luck, and go win tonight. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it. That is Coach John Ruane of the Penn-Trafford Warriors. Coming up on Warriors pregame in just a couple of minutes, Hannah Mears will talk with a couple of Penn-Trafford Warriors, and the first one up is Ethan Carr. That'll be up next right here on the Westmoreland Sports Network, counting you down to kickoff.